What if you could find the one common thread that connects the world's most successful leaders? What if there was an actual blueprint for achievement, something tested over decades? Well, that's exactly what we're digging into today.
And this wasn't just some casual survey. We're talking about a quarter of a century, where a guy named Napoleon Hill went on a mission. He personally studied hundreds of the titans of industry, invention, and politics, people like Henry Ford and Andrew Carnegie. He wanted to crack the code on what made them leaders.
See, he was convinced that success wasn't random. It was the result of applying very specific principles. He was hunting for that blueprint. And after all that time, he found that two principles, two core pillars, stood out above absolutely everything else.
All right, so the very foundation of this entire leadership blueprint, it all starts right here, with what Hill called the power of a made-up mind. This is the starting line for any and all achievement. So, what does that mean? It's the first key attribute, definiteness of decision. It's not just about making choices. It's about the speed and the conviction with which you make them. Think about it. A leader who constantly hesitates, who changes their mind every 5 minutes, well, they don't inspire confidence, and they definitely can't guide others to success.
And this isn't just a theory. The proof is kind of staggering. Hill analyzed over 25,000 cases of failure, and guess what he found right near the top of the list of causes? A lack of decision. It's a proven roadblock to getting anywhere.
And this slide shows you why it's so damaging. Indecision isn't just a passive weakness, it's an active poison. It starts out as this little seedling of fear. If you let it grow, that fear hardens into doubt. And together, those two things paralyze your ability to think clearly, they kill your self-reliance, and they completely snuff out your ambition. It's a domino effect that just guarantees failure.
For a really high-stakes example, just picture this. It's July 4th, 1776. You have 56 men gathered in a room in Philadelphia. They're facing this monumental decision. Sign a piece of paper declaring independence, and in doing so, pretty much sign their own death warrants if they fail. Or back down and just accept the status quo.
After days of debate and, hesitation, Richard Henry Lee stood up and spoke these words. This was the moment. This was the point where indecision had to die. He was pushing them to cross that line from just talking to making a definite, unwavering decision. And they did it. That one, single, unified decision made by those 56 men, it created this intangible power. It was like a spiritual force that fueled an entire revolution. It wasn't just a political move. It was the birth of a nation, and it was born from a moment of absolute, definite decision.
But a decision on its own is just an impulse, right? So let's look at the second part of this pillar, definiteness of plans. Hill was super clear on this. A successful leader doesn't just decide what to do. They meticulously plan the work, and then they work the plan. A decision without a plan is just a ship without a rudder.
And this lays it out perfectly. Without a plan, you're just guessing. You're creating confusion, and you're almost guaranteed to end up crashing on the rocks. But with a definite plan, now you move with purpose. You inspire confidence in your team, and you actually have a clear course to your destination.
So if that first pillar is the foundation, then this second one, this is the engine. It's the habit that takes that blueprint of decisions and plans and just accelerates it with incredible force. Hill called it the go-giver habit. Now, this is not about working unpaid overtime. It's a mindset. It's the habit of consistently delivering more value than is expected or required of you. I love how Hill describes this. He calls it a necessary penalty of leadership. It's basically the price of admission if you want to lead effectively.
So what's crucial here is the shift in thinking this takes. For years, the model for success was the go-getter, right? The person focused on taking, on bargaining for every last advantage. Hill argued this was a totally outdated model. The future, he said, belongs to the go-giver, whose primary focus is just on providing value and serving others.
And this is exactly why. This quote gets right to the heart of the go-giver principle. Knowledge is just potential power. The world doesn't reward you for what's in your head. It rewards you for what you do with it, for the value you create and the action you inspire in other people.
Hill even breaks this down into a practical formula. First, quality. Commit to excellence in every single detail. Second, quantity. Make it a habit to give all the service you're truly capable of. And third, spirit. Deliver that service with a harmonious attitude that makes people want to cooperate with you. You need all three for it to work.
Okay, so we have our two pillars, a made-up mind and the go-giver habit.
Now let's see how they actually fit together to create this powerful, self-reinforcing system for leadership.
And here's where the magic really happens. This shows how the two pillars aren't separate ideas at all. They create this amazing feedback loop. See, having a definite plan gives you the confidence to make firm decisions. Adopting that go-giver habit earns you real experience and the cooperation of others. And that experience? It feeds back, helping you refine your plans and making your future decisions even stronger. It's a cycle that just builds on itself.
So after a 25-year study of the world's greatest leaders, it really all boils down to this. This is your blueprint. First, create a definite plan and make the decision to see it through. Second, commit to the habit of doing more and giving more value than is ever asked of you.
You know, these principles aren't just for titans of industry. They're a blueprint for anyone who wants to take control and lead, whether it's a team, a company, or just their own life. So the only question left is, which part of the blueprint are you going to start on first?